Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel where today we are going to do a slightly different kind of video. So we're going to do a reading vlog. However, it's not going to be my normal reading vlog. I'm actually going to take you along as I read one particular book, and that book is Bump and Run by Edward Taft. This is described by the author as an erotic golf thriller. The premise is that we have a married couple, Bonnie and Craig, and they are both cops up in Seattle, and they decide to take a weekend away down at a golf resort in Arizona so that they can reconnect. And they happen to overhear a plot to kill a senator that is also in this golf tournament, so they have to, protect him, make sure it doesn't happen. Um, so I originally found out about this book about 10 years ago because the author, whose real name is actually Dean Wesley Smith, had written about this in a blog post that I now can't find. So the details are a little fuzzy and I may have some things a little bit incorrect. But I do remember quite clearly because it was just ridiculous. But essentially, he was contacted by the publisher, Foggy Windows Books. They were just getting started and they needed books to publish. And they had this idea that they wanted to write steamy romance, maybe even bordering it into erotica, between married couples. They wanted the sex between married couples because they didn't want sex outside of marriage. But and they didn't necessarily want him to be too long, but they contacted him, can you write a book? And it was like, he wrote this in like 2 to 4 weeks or something ridiculous like that. As a side note, the publisher literally only published like 15 books over a couple months, and then the business folded. So their idea didn't work out so well. But yeah, so that's how I found out about it. And I was like, erotic golf thriller. I kind of really want to read that. And then I saw the cover and I was like, I have to read that. And I started trying to track it down. And it took me a while to do so, but I finally did. And that was like 7 or 8 years ago. I read it and I thought, this is ridiculous. And then it stayed on my shelf for a really long time. And I realized I don't remember what happens anymore. So I think it's time for a reread. And I'm going to take you along so you can see all of my reactions. Now, I will be honest here. I'm filming this after I've already read this because I didn't realize how badly I was going to spoil this book. But I do. I spoil it heavily. Like, you don't need to read it now because you're not going to know what's happening, more or less. So if that does not sound good to you, turn away now. Otherwise, if you are interested in my reactions to this completely ridiculous book, just wait. Just wait. Hey guys, and welcome to a new location in my house. So I settled in so that I could start reading this book. I have my tea. I have my warm, cozy blanket. It's 80 degrees out. I don't need a warm, cozy blanket, but I have one just in case because it's fall. But I was just like, I'm going to settle in and I'm going to read a good chunk of this book and then I'll come and update everybody on all my thoughts. And you guys, I read the prologue and I read the first chapter and I have to talk to you about it. Like, I'm only like 12 pages in or something. But okay, so the prologue was very, very typical, like, nefarious dude hires an assassin to kill the senator. And we found out it's because nefarious dude, like, owns some companies that are going to get investigated if this bill passes in Congress. And, like, the senator is the one sponsoring it. Pardon my kids in the background. But, so that was pretty normal. And then the first chapter happens, and, like, Bonnie and Craig are a married couple. Like, that's the whole point, right? But they have sex in the first chapter. And I was just like, that's fine. I don't, honestly, even if like a regular romance is like they hook up in the first chapter. But the thing is, like, I don't know these characters. I don't have any emotional investment in them. I don't care that they're having sex. Like, at this point, it's just porn. And like, there's nothing wrong with porn, but it's the whole, like, if I'm reading a romance, it's partially because I want that emotional attachment, and I've got nothing with these characters. Also, just like a small little irksome detail. So Craig is supposed to be 6'1". Fine. Bonnie, who's this character, is supposed to be 5'2", and I'm like, according to this cover, she's like 5'9" at least, which is such a stupid, petty thing, and I just don't care. So it was one of those little things that bothered me. But anyway, so they go have sex on the fairway, and of course, like, it's night, but they go intentionally out. It's not an accident that it happens on the fairway. And I'm just like, you guys are cops. Like, if you get caught, that's a problem. And like, indecent exposure, public exposure, whatever, is like no joke. But okay. But that's how they overhear the plot, that there's this assassination plot, right? And so now they're headed back to their hotel room to get cleaned up and to really, like, to discuss whether what they heard is really what they heard, which of course it is. But yeah, so I don't know what I was expecting, but sex in the first chapter was not it. So I'm going to read some more and I'll let you know how it goes. We'll see. Hey guys, so I have now read 6 chapters of this book. I am on page 41. I have to stop to go make dinner, so I just wanted to update you real quick before I go do that. But you guys, this book. So basically, Bonnie and Craig went back to their hotel room to talk about this whole, like, did we really overhear what we thought we heard? What if, like, make it look like an accident is a euphemism for something? Like, and I'm like, what the hell would it be a euphemism for? Which they quickly agreed with me. So then they're like, okay, we got to contact the senator. And then, of course, there's ridiculousness around contacting the senator, which we quickly get through. But then they go and talk to the senator, and this is through Bonnie's perspective. And like, Craig is recalling this conversation that they overheard, and like, Bonnie's sitting there admiring her husband, like, he's so smart. He has like perfect recall. I admire that about him so much. And like, it's not, they're supposed to have been together for 10 years, right? And it's not that you ever really stop admiring your spouse necessarily, but you do it in different terms, like when you've been together for 10 years. And so I was just like, are you sure you've been together for that long? Because I don't know about that. So it's just like, that was a little off-putting. The senator is dumb as a box of rocks. He's so friendly and affable, but he's also sitting there like, I get death threats all the time, so I don't know if I don't think I should have to take this one seriously, and I'm just here to play 36 holes of golf, and so I don't care what happens as long as I get to do that. I'm like, are you kidding me? So that's a whole thing as well. There's like clearly a subplot going on with this guy who's like one of the club pros, and his wife got taken and he's being asked to do something. We don't know what yet, but so that's like a whole subplot. Oh, and then after they're done with the senator, Craig and Bonnie go back to their hotel room, and they're like, I'm so dirty from having sex in the grass on the fairway. I'm gonna go take a shower. Do you want to join me? And I was just like, really? Already? And yeah, we had 40 pages in, 2 sex scenes. And it's like it's not that it's badly written sex scenes, it's just not good either. And they're so vanilla, and I'm just like, what am I supposed to get out of this? Like, I don't know these characters. It's not a good emotional release, and it's not well written sex, so it's not good erotica. So what the hell am I supposed to be getting from this? And I don't know. I honestly have no idea. But they finished up in the shower and now they're asleep, and that was the end of the chapter that I read. So it was just like, you guys, I don't know what I got myself into, but I guess we'll see. So like I said, I have to go I have to go make dinner. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to read more tonight, and realistically, I'm probably going to make it like 20 or 30 pages before I have to come back and rant at you guys, because this is ridiculous. But we'll see. We shall see if it gets better. Okay, until then. Hey guys, it is the next day. And oh my gosh. So I have tried to film this clip like 7 or 8 times already because, and I keep getting interrupted by car noises, which I'm sure you're going to hear in this video because like I've given up. But like also I tried to film outside because I was actually reading outside, and like the neighborhood kids started yelling at me through the fence. And then I tried to film inside, and my little one was like rattling the doorknob to my bedroom. And so now you guys get car noises and freaking weird angles, and I just can't even anymore. So we're going with it. But it is the next day, it is the afternoon, and I decided that we were having another warm day today. For those of you not in Fahrenheit, like it's like 80s is warm into hot. It's definitely unseasonably hot for where I am. And so I was like, I'm going to enjoy the warmth while I can, while we still have it. And so I am now on page 70, chapter 13. And you guys, this is such a weird book. Like, I'm just going to come out and say it. We knew it was going to be weird. It's an erotic golf thriller, right? But the thing is, Edward Taft, aka Dean Wesley Smith, used to be a pro golfer, and it definitely shows in the very next chapter that I read, which, like, I swear to God, I don't know why there's so many cars. But anyway, like, he's very clearly used to be a pro golfer, because just how he describes the golf in this book is like, you have to understand golf to be able to write it that way. You don't have to understand it as well to read it and understand what's happening, but you do have to understand golf to be able to write it like that. And it's so clear. And it is so out of place for the book up to this point. And it was just like, I don't know what I'm reading. It was literally just a longer chapter about golf. And I was like, I guess we're doing that. Okay. And then there's this really, like, I don't like Craig and Bonnie. I've decided at this point, Craig has no personality. We don't know almost anything about him other than he thinks his wife is hot. Bonnie, all we know about her is she's hot and she admires her husband, and she blushes anytime the senator gives her a compliment, because yes, he does that. And I'm like sitting here going, oh my God, inappropriate. And like, so the senator's complimenting Bonnie on her body. She's blushing and thinking, I'm going to wear my tighter shorts tomorrow. And Craig's like sitting there listening to this being like, she has tighter shorts. I'm just like, what is going on? So then for like a moment, I reimagined this book with like Bonnie and Craig inviting the senator to be their third. And I'm like, that's definitely not what this book is. So I kind of reeled in my imagination and went on. So then we get back to like, okay, the thriller aspect of it. And like Bonnie and Craig go find like a golf cart, their golf cart, to like go park in the golf cart, which is, I don't care, it's fine. But they're interrupted by the same dudes doing the assassination stuff. And I'm like, these guys are not stealthy. Do they not check out like the area that they're going to be in before they start talking? I don't get it. And I'm like, also hella convenient for Bonnie and Craig. Okay, again, okay. And then and then we had morning sex, and that was pretty much all. So we're at 3.5 sex scenes so far. We found out that they have figured out who the possible person that hired the assassin is. Like, the good guys have kind of figured it out. Like, it's just, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do with this book. I don't know. I don't remember it being this bad, and yet here we are. So, like I said, 70 pages in, I've got 80 more to go, and I'm struggling. I am honestly struggling. Like, because part of it is I'm just unclear what this is supposed to be. Is this supposed to be erotica where I don't give a shit about the characters, or is it supposed to be like a romance where I actually care? Because either way, it's badly written. So, okay. I'm going to go read some more. I'm sure that I'll be back. I'll let you guys know how it goes. Hey guys, so it's a little bit later, and I am now on page 97, chapter 17. And I was planning on waiting just a little bit longer before I updated you, and then something amazingly stupid happened, and now I have to tell you about it. Okay, also, I'm realizing that I definitely have to refilm my intro because I did not expect, I did not give the warning that this book is going to be tremendously spoiled. Nobody needs to read this because y'all know what happened because I'm telling you. Anyway, so essentially, we're back to our thriller plot. They go play golf. The senator, they really quickly realize that how the attack on the senator is going to go, that the brakes on the golf cart is going to are not going to work going down this super steep hill, which is exactly what happens. And there's the accident, and the pro golfer that was driving is fine. He dove out. The senator is fine because he was walking. And then they realize that the pro golfer was in on it, and then they quickly realize that he was being forced to because his wife had been kidnapped and held hostage. Okay, great. So then they're like, okay, they tell the pro golfer, Danny, we want you to keep your meeting with the contact. No, in this conversation, they never ever state that they think that the contact is going to try to kill Danny at that point to tie up loose ends, which is so not what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to risk somebody's life without letting them know. Anyway, so but they really want somebody inside the room with Danny, and so the decision is made that Craig and Bonnie are going to drop off Danny at his room, and then like stage it, and then like go hide out in his bedroom essentially, and just be really quiet until the meet, which is about an hour after they drop him off. Okay, fine. Now they're waiting for an hour. Do you see where this is going? Because I sure as hell didn't. Craig, at like the halfway mark, or maybe just slightly over, decides to grope Bonnie. And I'm like, inappropriate when you're waiting for like a person to show up who you think is going to try to kill the guy in the other room. But okay. And then Bonnie's like, I know how we can pass the time. And she like literally pulls down her shorts and starts masturbating. And I'm like, time and a place. There's a time and a place, and when you're waiting for some killer to show up to try to kill the guy in the other room, not the time. Not the time. And also, I'm sitting here like, y'all are horny. Fine. But I don't really believe that you manage to not go at it like rabbits in your day-to-day life. You're talking about this being a reconnection because you haven't had time for sex. I don't believe it at all. I don't know. Anyway, so Danny's fine. He's alive, in case you were wondering. Bonnie didn't finish, so I'm sure there's going to be sex in the near future because she's going to need to finish that out. Oh my God. I just can't even with this. We have 50 pages left. We have 50 pages left. What are we supposed to do in the next 50 pages? We've thwarted the accident that was supposed to take out the senator. We helped out the pro golfer that was being forced into doing this. Now all we have to do is like catch the actual assassin person mastermind, and then we're done. Why do we need 50 pages for that? And I'm like, oh yeah, sex. I still don't think we need 50 pages for that, but yeah. Clearly this is one of those books that I read so that you don't have to. I can't take any more right now. I will probably read. I'm going to try to finish this book tonight, as truly awful as this has been, because I want it to be over. I need the pain to be over. So you'll probably see me again later tonight. Okay, bye. Hey guys, so it is later in the day. It's evening, which means I don't have a ton of choices in where I can film. So pardon the lighting. It's the best of a bunch of terrible options. But I did want to give you an update. I am now on page 126, chapter 24. And actually, this is the most enjoyable chunk of this book that I have read so far. So it did start off a little weird because, of course, it did. But Bonnie and Craig had a long day, so they decided to go check out the hot tub at like 1 o'clock at night. And there's another couple there, but that did not stop them from a little bit of foreplay groping because apparently Bonnie and Craig get off on the possibility that they might get caught. But they do at least go upstairs to finish, and they are in the middle of sex when they are kidnapped. And the kidnapper is the person that is actually the mastermind behind the whole assassination plot. And basically he's kidnapping them in a plot to get back at the money man, the guy that had hired him, because the money man shorted the mastermind on the final payment. Let that be a lesson to y'all. Don't short payments. But in any case, so Bonnie and Craig have been kidnapped. They are trying to figure out a way to get out of this situation alive. It's really actually fairly interesting, and it's really smartly done. And I think I'm going to take a guess that Dean Wesley Smith does more crime stuff than anything, because it is very smart and very tightly written, and I actually enjoyed reading it. And so I'm going to go ahead and finish out this book. Like, as soon as I finish this clip, I'm going to finish this book because I'm actually inclined to read the rest of the book because it is interesting and I am curious to see how they're going to get out of it. So, this update is short and sweet and actually not filled with me ranting, so I guess that's good. But I will come back and update you soon on the end of this book. Okay, bye. Hey guys, I'm back. I'm back into my normal space, but I am here to say that I have finished all 153 pages of this book. It was terrible. It was just like everything that was not Bonnie and Craig at the end was actually pretty good, and I really liked it. There was even a little bit of a twist, and that was enjoyable. That was so much fun. But like, Bonnie and Craig honestly did not care. I did not care about them. They ended up getting shoved into a closet where they were like happily groping each other while they were trying to untie each other's bonds, which I'm like, really? It's more important that you get untied than you get your jollies, okay? And then they may have had sex in the closet. I don't know. Fade to black. We're left wondering, which I'm like, if this is supposed to be erotica, why would you fade to black? And then like everything goes down and they get rescued and the whole thing. And then at the end we have like they're back at the golf resort to actually have a true vacation, and they have sex on the fairway again, except it's another fade to black scene. And I'm like sitting here going, okay, but I thought this was supposed to be a sex book. I don't know. The end of this thriller without Craig and Bonnie was really interesting. Everything else about this was terrible though. Okay, so if I were to do a proper review, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the characters. I don't know them. I really don't. They have absolutely no depth. I don't feel that they actually feel anything for each other other than lust, and a whole lot of it. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I don't know why you've been together for 10 years when you say that you haven't been having sex, because that's really all you talk about. So that's great. I don't know any of the side characters. There's like there are two characters. One is a local cop and one is an FBI agent, and I still don't know which is which. I have no idea. So that's exciting. And so the plot. This is described as an erotic golf thriller, right? And the golf part, I'm like, okay, I mean, you had one chapter about golf out of 31, so, but it's set at a golf resort, so, I mean, half points, I guess? Like, I guess. The thriller part of it, like, I don't know. I hesitate to describe it as a thriller because I really never felt that edge of your seat, like, tenterhooks, what is going to happen, fearful that things might turn out badly. I never felt anything like that. I really didn't feel much of anything for this book at all. And so I don't know that I would categorize it as a thriller, especially like we get to page 100 and the senator they've already thwarted the accident. And I'm like, what else is going to happen? So I really didn't feel like that Bonnie and Craig were in danger. So it kind of failed the thriller part, except the back half of the book. Again, the crime part of it and everything was actually really interesting. Um, and then the erotica or romance. Okay, first, it's definitely not a romance because, like, literally, there is nothing between these two characters. I don't feel like they have any kind of emotional connection, and I didn't get any kind of an emotional release from reading this. So it's not romance. Okay, it's erotica. There is a lot of sex. There's 3 full sex scenes. There are like 3 thwarted sex scenes where they don't finish. There's a handful of groping things. There's 2 fade to blacks. Like, I guess, like, there is a lot of sex in this book. But again, it's not well written sex scenes. It's not bad. It's just not well written. So, like, it's so vanilla that I'm like, I don't see anybody getting their jollies off on reading this either. Like, there's way better stuff out there if that's what you're looking for. So, it failed on basically all counts, right? And, like, the writing style is straightforward. It's fast paced. I just didn't care about any of it. So, yeah, there you go. I read it. I took you guys along with me. And like I gave you enough information that you kind of read it too. But honestly, as much as I complained about this book, and you know, clearly I did. I still had a lot of fun, especially with ranting and just being like, just having an audience for that listened to how ridiculous this book is. It was a lot of fun. So I might actually do this again. If you have any suggestions for really ridiculous romances, leave them down below. But I think that's all I got. So I'm going to end it here. But until next time, guys, have happy reading, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.